Welcome to the Intuitive Therapist Podcast with Janis R. Cohen, therapist, clairvoyant, empath, and medium. Listen in as she takes a no-nonsense deep dive into real human struggles and how to resolve them. Janis will share channeled information from her spirit guide team, as well as the angels and archangels, to help you master your emotional, physical, financial, and spiritual destiny. And now, Janis R. Cohen.
Hey y'all, this is Janis Cohen, the Intuitive Therapist here on the Intuitive Therapist Podcast. I was giggling just before I hopped on to record this today because my cat's in my lap and she tends to meow. She's 13 years old, she's a tabby, and her name is Snickers. So you might hear her sharing her little meows and cat wisdom with you today. So I want to talk about how you really don't know the impact you have on others. You really have no idea how powerful you are, and you have no idea how you impact people. And the reason why I can say both of those things is because we often take what we know about ourselves for granted, and we rarely take the time to stop and get present and honor the interactions that we have on others. In other words, noticing how we impact them. And because you've had a lifetime of these interactions with people, you as a human being aren't cognizant of the power of your presence and your influence. You just never know when what you do or say impacts somebody that may just change their life. And you never know when you've given somebody something that they truly needed, or when you've done something to help them out of a difficult situation, where they struggled secretly in silence, you didn't even know, but you came along and you helped shift things for them, even if everybody around them was unaware that they were struggling. You see, we give what comes naturally to us, and we also give with intention, even if we're not aware of it. Both of these things are necessary, the giving naturally and giving with intention, for us to make human connections that offer value. But do you truly know how impactful you are on others with your words and with your actions? I know I don't. And, it's interesting, when I was thinking about today's topic, I immediately was taken back to two very wonderful women in my life that came into my life when I was very young. One is my preschool teacher. I remember how sweet and kind and loving she was towards me. Her name was Miss Melanie. And I remember my first grade teacher too. Her name was Miss Johnson. And she was so sweet and so kind to me. I'll never forget. I honestly can picture their faces right now. And I remember being in their classes and feeling safe and understood and seen. And after that point, I didn't experience that kind of love and that kind of nurturing and caring that much from other mentors in my life. And I do consider teachers mentors, very valuable mentors. But to this day, at 54 years old, I distinctly remember these two women, their hearts filled with love and joy for what they did during my school days, early school days, and for the permanent marks they left on my heart and mind about how capable and loved I was. Shifting to now, I often receive emails from listeners or get messages on Facebook where listeners write to me sharing how a particular episode hit them right in the right spot at the right time, where either they didn't know they needed to hear the information that I shared, or they did know, and that they needed that download, but didn't know where or from whom they could get it. And when I get those messages, my heart fills up, honestly, with such love and such humility. It's true, I've been recording podcast episodes for 6 years, and I create content, record it, and then hand it over to the universe, hoping that it will help at least one person. But I never know how any of this is going to impact y'all, only that the information that I shared was something that I was guided to share. And I do this podcast because my heart and soul needs to be of service to feel fulfilled, and because I've been called to share my messages, knowledge, and lessons so that others might have a shorter road ahead when it comes to challenges, especially if they're going through anything that I have and something that I've overcome or something that I've come to understand more about. So recently, I received an email that really brought me to tears. It stopped me in my tracks, not because it was bad or sad, but because it let me know that for 6 years that I've put out weekly content, that it hasn't fallen on deaf ears, that it hasn't been in vain, and that listeners actually get something from them. This email I received filled my heart with so much love from the sender that I sat back in my office chair after I read it and said, wow, I can't believe this. And then it registered with me. I am making a difference. And I'm making a difference in people's lives. That was all it took for me to get even more fired up about sharing deeper truths with y'all. You see, when you look back on your life, how many experiences can you recall where somebody has changed the course of your moment, of your day, and your life simply by being who they are and sharing a nugget of wisdom or doing something kind that maybe just came naturally to them, but that you needed at just that right time? When you think about the feedback that you've gotten from others about how you've impacted them, what have they said? What has changed in their lives simply because you existed and simply because you were you and offered something? And I always encourage people to take time to honor their contributions to the lives of others and actually to really brag about their accomplishments, not from a place of arrogance, but from a place of pleasure and from a place of happiness. Look what I've done. I got to make somebody's life better. Something that you got the chance to do. You see, we often avoid celebrating our wins as if it's bad or wrong. And listen to what just happened to my throat. That's for some people out there who really feel that. And I'm going to say it again. We often avoid celebrating our wins as if it's bad or wrong to honor when we have valuably contributed to the quality of life for others. That said, I call on each and every one of you to be aware, to be mindful of how you show up and how intentional you are with how you contribute to the quality of the lives of other people, how you build other people up, how you make their lives easier, how you make them feel less alone, how you help them to feel worthy, validated, important, safe, secure, how you role model for others about what's possible, how you pave the way for others to rise up and become a higher version of themselves, their best selves. You are such an important part of the world we live in, and I just wanted to let you know that even on your darkest day, when you feel like nobody gives a shit and nobody knows your struggles because you haven't shared them with anybody, and you're secretly struggling to find your sense of deservedness, worth, and validity, I'm here to tell you, you matter. You are fucking amazing. And I recognize you. You matter so much, and you have the opportunity every single day to be of service. And being of service will always get you out of a sense of loneliness, desperation, or sadness. Because when we get out of ourselves and give to others, it changes our emotional state. You have the opportunity every day to show kindness, compassion, humility and confidence, grace and love every single fucking day. And I get to be those things, hopefully for you. So I ask you now, do you really know the impact you have on other people? Can you truly look back with self-respect and say, yeah, you know what, when I did this, it was really helpful to this person. Or I remember years ago, so-and-so reached out to me and said, had I not talked to you that day, I didn't know what I would do. I ask you now to really look at how you impact other people and also reflect on how other people have impacted you. You see, we're all here to help each other. It's just part of our life of being of service, part of our life purpose too. So, question to you, how much more impact are you ready to make? I want to wish you a blessed day, a wonderful week, and always live intuitively.
Thanks for listening to The Intuitive Therapist. If you like what you heard, the best compliment you can give us is to share this podcast with a friend. And be sure to give us some stars and a favorable review at Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen in.